Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and good afternoon to all of you. We all had insightful session yesterday. I thank all the presenters who took time to put in their efforts to make informative presentations that help us understand more into the outlook of 2021 and our strategy on business, product, marketing and service fronts. I'm sure, and you all would agree with me, yesterday was an action packed day. I'm very sure that even today's sessions will also be equally insightful when our channel partners will also join us. To sum it up, we have the much awaited award ceremony in the evening, a moment of celebration of hard work you colleagues have put over in 2020 amidst the tough market conditions. Without taking much time, I want to emphasize few points before we start our session for today. The internal conference will continue as yesterday till 2:30 p.m. India Standard Time. After internal conference, all Rital colleagues are requested to use partners conference link to attend the partners meet. The partners conference will begin in the room that is named main live stream, and after the common presentation in the main live stream, Rital IT colleagues and IT partners shall switch to second live stream for IT partner presentation and come back to main live presentation stream to attend the question answer session and awards function. The Rital industrial colleagues and industrial partners shall continue to be in the main live stream room for industrial partner presentation, followed by question answer and award ceremony. Should you have any concern on attending these kind of a link, please connect with my colleague Sri Raghu, who would be happy to help you. With that, I would like to call upon Angelo to give us insights on IT product strategies, and all of you, please have a great day ahead. Thank you very much.
Hello and good afternoon to all my colleagues and team in India, and good morning to the team in Germany. Today, I would like to give you some insight on our IT strategy and what we are doing as IT Competence Center in India. It's always a privilege for me to share this every year with the team, but this time we are doing it digitally. So the IT role has become even more important now. These are the topics which I am covering, basically on the concept of IT CC from the day it has started, the guidelines, what we follow, organization chart, inquiry overview, and opportunities which we see in APEC countries and major projects, one success stories and strategies. So as you all know that we have matured as an IT CC centers all over the globe. We have by headed by Martin. So the main topic is always the design and the engineering of a data center for us, because that's the way we influence our customers, and that's the way we try to get more and more into the projects with our products. So first is support to the not only in India and also to our APEC countries, converting competition orders. That is our main, because then we gather much knowledge, or we go dig deep into what is the solution, what the customer would come with, and we try to try to be more aggressive in terms of solutioning. Then detailed technical and commercial offers with the TCO, total cost of ownership, ROI, which is very much required to manage the budget of the customers. Compliance and design documents, contract agreement sign offs, and customer and vendor partner agreements. So these are very, very important for projects, because projects have a life of 10 years. So whatever you do in the beginning remains signed. So it's very important that we do projects with a lot of insight and do it in such a way that the process is followed. So we also do the competition price analysis when it comes to a particular project, and development of new vendors if it is required for third party. Next comes the installation stage and the handover to the service, which is also important. So if you can see on the screen, you see a different documents which are pretty deep in nature, but I've just shown some screenshot like techno commercial offers, CFD analysis, cooling diagrams, space layout plans, and a lot of technical details on electrical and 3Ds. The last year we had announced, and we have kept, now we have announced that we have two dedicated persons for Asia region. One is Gaurav, which we has a big almost 10-15 years experience now in data centers, and Yogesh, who comes with a strong background of electrical, and Gaurav with mechanical and cooling. So we are serving 9 countries. These are the linked countries apart from India, which we are serving, and we want to really go into deep understanding of these countries so that we can capture more market share in these countries. But first, we need to do our homework. So we need to learn a lot about their standards. What type of customers we are. In that market. So that's very important for us. So we have right now 10 professional data center designers in our team, which I am coming to the next slide where I can show you that. Then we have experts which are dedicated to a certain core activities. Like we have ATD certified data center professionals who are thorough on what kind of nature of data center redundancies are, and what is the uptime required for data centers. So basically, the activities is pre-sales, in which it consists of making all the designs which I spoke about earlier, and coming to the role of Gaurav and Yogesh, they are going to support the countries the same way they are doing for India, and this is also a good thing for the our sister companies in this region, that they can use fully utilize our data center also an addition on top as a pre-sales experience. So this is our team in India as ITCC, and thanks to our management, and also the German management to have to give us this concept and to have such a good team now. And we are fully focused on getting converting more orders, and also we are step by step training the new people, the team members on various aspects of data centers, and we are getting a good result from our team now already. Coming to the important part of the project, I would say taking an order or finalizing an order is one part, but executing the order and making the customer happy is the second most important part of the data center projects or any projects. And that's where our role of our team comes. And I would like to thank each and one of them who were running around even during the COVID times and the situation of pandemic. We had a lot of restrictions. We had to do a lot of other clearances, like most of them had to get tested for COVID 24 hours before they travel, do a lot of documentations. And since we are more into government projects, it becomes even more tough in these conditions. So this is the team, and in this specifically, I would like to address that we have two set of teams now. One is Suresh, who handles our normal IT business and customers and IT projects, and then we have special projects. Amit Satija, he was on board in the middle of or you can say second quarter of last year, where we had to uh, continue with the Varun project when Kiran Varnasi left. So he has done a good job, and we are. I'm going to come later to the progress of also the Varun project. So this is a very dedicated team who travel to the islands, and some of them, were really were staying in islands in a very difficult conditions where there are no hotels. They have to just stay in some houses and all that. So a very good job done by them, and I really appreciate all the work done by them. Coming to inquiries, we you can see that it's a similar structure what you see in sales and other areas, that we are lower than 2019. You can see 719 inquiry request received in 2019, and in 2020 it was 536. So relatively very not so low, but we had quite some good, because if you see there are 2 3 months where there was a quite a lag of inquiries because the lockdown was happening. Overall, we are averaging around 44 projects per month, and in projects, number is good, but also the nature of the project and the size of the project also matters. Sometimes this project can convert into multiple orders, like we have seen in Varun or we see in IPSS. So a lot of work goes behind it. So I think we cannot calculate exactly the numbers, but this would help us to have a guidance on how we are performing. In this we chart, I'm also showing the utilization of the ITCC for Asia and for India, and we have seen not much growth, but we are expecting more growth this year with Gaurav and Yogesh on board, directly addressing the needs of those regions. Coming to inquiry type, this is a picture which I show every time to give you an insight that our main focus still remains that we are very competitive in the small data centers, which is edge data centers based on LCU, that is a smaller solution up to 3 kilowatt to 6 kilowatt or 7 kilowatt, and then we go with edge larger data centers of LCPDX, and that's been the focus. And also we have projects where we work directly with racks and other components within the data center, maybe not the cooling and cooling projects. We have only the big projects which will come maybe this year. Last year there was a slowdown in decision making, and you can see that in all the things which we have been shown right now. If you can see in terms of values also, we are lower, but we are equal to what we did in 2018. So of course we have a good chance this year to increase this value, and 2021 I feel we will definitely have more projects coming in with the economy kicking up, and a lot of activities have taken started everywhere. So this is the data I would like to show, that the number of projects each quarter was around 45, but we had a lower number in quarter two, which was only 25 projects, but did quite a lot of projects in India. We did so many every quarter 45 projects we did, and this data is only for projects. This is not including the racks or any other things which we have done. So these are the projects we did for the linked countries, and this was number was also high, but there are some small projects here, because if you can see in the linked countries, they work on smaller projects like Edge more, and also a large project where racks are also involved. Some of the best practices, I still we spoke about it last year about bile, but I would like to emphasize what all efforts went into this project. The main reason why we could win this project was that we were constantly with the customer and customer as well as our direct customer to work on the technical part. And believe me, the technicals which have gone into this data center, the US consultant being involved also, is huge. So in terms of project, it looks good, but the day to day things which require for approval and kind of things were quite huge. So, and also the delay of COVID made it even difficult. So I feel that this is a good experience for us, and from here we will only get stronger, and we understand more and more of the requirement of the airports. Like we did last year also GMR. So that also was also a good experience for us. One of the project I would also like to highlight is the IPSS security room of Pathankot. The good news is we last week we got the information that our customer got the AT already approved from Air Force, and that's good news for us. So that now it will speed up. But even after before the AT, we have again supplied 5 rooms last year, and the installation work will commence or start now. We are ready for the installation. A lot of groundwork has been done for this project. So this is an update. But the technical part of this solution is it's we are proud to get this solution from our competition is because this is an outdoor container solution where we have used our outdoor security room. So in India this is the first, and if we want it to be a precedent so that next orders we get also in this kind of environment for Indian customers, whether it is defense or private customers. Next best practice is GMR, which was won against Vertiven Schneider. It was like a very tough fight with them, and we were basically technically very aggressive. And finally, the sales team was very did a good job on the commercial part and also support from the management for all these projects. Because when we do a lot of hard work, we expect also the sales and the management to support it to win the job, and this was a perfect combination of winning a large project. GMR Airport, as you know, it's one of Asia's also a biggest airport in terms of handling flights. So coming to the next slide, T system again a good reference for us. We did very good close contact work with the Singapore team, and also there was a big support from the German team to coordinate the efforts for our influencing. And also in India, our team from ITCC did a very good job here, closely working with the customer. And we also you know scaled up this order by getting a new order of UPS in the system. Initially, it was only for a modular data centers, and then also the UPS part. We got a good order in this, and the relationship with this customer is good now. Next is update on Varun project. Of course, it was one of its kind for us, and I think globally also. 45 data centers with security rooms and islands, 7 8 data centers in the islands. So handling was, I mean, really a task, but the team did a very good job. Our installation team, and there was a big support from our sourcing and our management. So finally, we have come to a stage that all 44 data centers we have completed the 80, except some few snacks are going on, and only one site which is still going on and almost at the completion stage is Kavarati. But due to the recent spike in COVID in islands, they have become stricter, so work is getting little bit slower there. But we expect to also complete and finish this fast. So thanks to all the team members who traveled during restrictions, and even during the early days when there was a lot of fear of this COVID, our team was brave enough to travel everywhere and take up the challenge of completing the 40 many data centers in this 44. Coming to Asia, we work closely with the teams in Asia, and I just took one example of Telstra Edge solutions. Why these solutions are important is that we thoroughly test this solution when we design them and give the perspective to the customer, and the customer knows that what we are telling him and what we have designed is in line with his requirement. And these solutions are basically an advantage to us if they really get into a kind of a concept mode, and that module of this is approved, then it will go into multiple places. So that gives that whatever efforts we put initially can be replicated with that same customer in different with many orders which can come from them. So we had support from Lithuania team, our ITCC, for getting the CFD done, which we do usually for all our projects. So this is one of a joint effort which we have done. Last year, we also did upgrade on our Edge configurator, and we have made it more included a lot of more options, and this is going on as well for us, because here the selection becomes very easy. And if there are simple edge solutions which are already done by our sales, and also with the support from our team. Next software which we did for the global team, from which was of course a brainchild of Constantine, but we supported him with all the inputs and the support from our Indian support vendor. And this has come out successfully, and we have more than 50 persons using this now. And it is a good tool for the customers to, as a first entry, as a entry to the data center project. The customer want to know which type of technology will really give him an advantage in terms of ROI and TCO. And this software tool, you can enter around four technologies, and I believe that we will start using it also in India more and more now. We have done it already, and this will be a good tool for us to actually test, the solution what we are giving is cost effective from all points of view, from the technology point of view, including our competition. Next, we also worked and developed during this COVID time the rack configurator, and which is already in test phase with some of our salespersons. It is being tested. So this is the same as Edge, but we make it little bit, a different type where the customers, the salesperson can easily make their offers. Of course, it is linked to our quotation cell, and all the details are captured for the quotation cell. This is the first view of the budgetary quotes. In terms of product growth strategy for IT rack and components, I have made some segments. Like we would focus on racks, every kind of rack, whether it is going inside the data center or for telecom, outdoor applications with servers and all those things. So there we would like to focus on that scenario. And then we have the new sockets in Rital now, which are fully ready, and all kinds of PDUs are available. So our focus would be on the IT power in terms of IPPDUs. Next is CMC monitoring is also very well known in our with our customers, but we would like to also put more emphasis that we could sell it as a upgrade into the current data centers, or the data centers which are not having proper monitoring system, because as you know now monitoring of data centers is become even more important because of the remote working conditions of the data centers. Next, with rack with cooling unit, we have IT cooling, which has been combined with racks, and for small kind of applications, we are focused on that. We Edge, as you know, we are already doing quite well on Edge solutions. Next is rack with LCPs. Also, we are doing quite well. So we can have this two segment as low capacity, and the next segment as the high capacity of between 10 kilowatts to 35 kilowatts. Next is our IT modular modular safes, which we want to give in a very high availability requirements, which we will try to push customers where the requirement of their data center requires high availability. Maybe they don't buy a room, but they can buy modular safes. Next, container data centers will be our next level of focus, because we feel that there is requirement of this solution, but I think it's right now not such a big requirement, but I think slowly it will come. But especially for Asian countries, we had quite a lot of requests for this. So we will be working closely with Germ HQ team also to develop a containers strategy for Asia and also for our Indian market. Next is high security rooms of HVR and GSR, which we have done for Varun, and now we are doing for IPSS. Maybe we'll look for more projects, with the already references what we have in this market. This was one solution which we did for HPE Singapore last year. The design was basically to considering that it was for a military operation, where they want to mobilize this into different locations once they are the application requirement is over. So this was the design we worked. So looks like it's a good design and from my point of view. We need to actually test it, actually at least one demo, maybe if customer gives an opportunity, and that would be a good reference for us to start with. Execution of projects, as you can see, we had quite a lot of small projects, and if you see, we did 105 projects last year. Although the project values were not so high, but the effort required to complete these projects was almost the same as a medium or a big size project. So there is a lot of efforts which goes into execution of projects, and some of these projects were during the COVID time. So and people had to travel even though there were a lot of restrictions, and many people had to take that risk, and that is a good work from our project team. Focus on next product is edge 2.0. It's the same. I mean, we made a little bit of upgrade on the product, but I feel it's a big upgrade for the customer and for our service point of view also. We introduced an IoT based HMI, which can be like a small a DCIM. In IT we call it a data center monitoring project, where data center monitoring solution, where a customer can see everything on one screen, and he can have any alarms or alerts raised. Not all customers can afford to buy a full-fledged DCIM, because they come as quite at a cost because of the type of servers and all those things required. So this would be a good strategy for us going forward to scale up our solution price, and also give the feature to the customer which will be very useful for him. LCP localization is a big subject, and I think we had a couple of discussions last year and also at the beginning of the year. We have given more and more focus to this uh, topic, is because, as you know, we lose a lot of orders only in this area, and I feel that it will be a big advantage not only for India, but if we are able to, also the Asian countries could take advantage of it, our sister companies. And in India, why it is important is our competition is basically targeting this product because of our high cost. It is coming from Germany, with and government has put a lot of restrictions on imports, and also increased the custom duties. So this is just the beginning. It could even become more from the government that they totally ban it. So we want to be ready with a product which is totally the same product, but localized in India to support our business growth. And I feel we will have a good run in this IT, because as you know, the after the COVID, there is a lot of investments coming in IT data centers, and mostly the colo location guys have got a lot of business during COVID, because people couldn't build up the data centers. So, and we could have a lot of people who will go with new data centers or new requirements, but we need to also be ready with a product which is competitive enough, or our market share would be also a challenge, because we don't have a product which is competitive enough. So finally, my last slide is, I think, the benefits, and this I would like to spend a little time on this slide, is that the benefit of the ITCC is mainly to the sales and to the the teams which want the support on the ground. But the first thing is definitely that the inquiries have to be generated, and our ITCC teams kicks in with lot of options, giving to the teams of pre-sales. I mean, the teams of sales, and the the also the teams of Asian countries, our sister companies. We promise you that we give you a high quality technical data offers, a lot of them, and you have seen in the past we try to improve with every projects. What we do, we learn and do more and more, and try to win more projects. Second is to train our partners, and already we did one CIBIT in Thailand, was done by Gaurav. He did the presentation there, and then we also did one presentation in Bangladesh for DC Summit. And in India, we trained a lot of our partners on our solution. So right now, the need of the hour is also to have our sales talking about our ITCC. So I think which they are already doing. If not, I think it is a good plan that we will be talking. The sales team talks also about our competence center. Second is our idea is to make create fast offers with convincing concepts, so that the customer is in the first phase. We try to influence him with the benefits of energy savings, ROI, TCO, and the futuristic technological advantages by going with Rital. Next is remote and site project management, installation and commissioning, the support which we would like to give to the teams in Asia. That means, if required, our team will travel, but if not, we will try to support as much as possible through our remote operations here in Bangalore. Next is after sales service and technical clarification with our service team. We also give a lot of documentation to them and give them insight into the projects. So I feel that business of service will also grow hand in hand with our IT business, and we'll can look into the future as the projects which we have done maybe last year or before that this year will be a good hand in hand service and support, because a happy customer with service will also be a good marketing for us to get new projects in the region. And with that, I would like to make my last statement that our goal is to increase hit rate or conversion rate for projects and win more orders in 2021. And thank you very much. And I think I finished within the time.
Good afternoon to all the colleagues in India, and good morning to all the colleagues in Germany. So I would like to take you through the operations performance during 2020 and what we have in plan for 2021. Before that, I would like to, as normally I do, congratulations and also thank you to all the team, for all the functions. During these difficult times, I think you have put in a lot of effort in all the areas and brought out the results what we were able to achieve today, what you see, which was appreciated as well all across. So I think with this note I will carry on. So this is the management summary from the operations performance. There are about 6 topics. Typically we present the status. So safety, accident frequency and severity are the two parameters which are under control. So we brought it under control until the end of the year. Yes, in between we were out. There were some accidents, and now we have brought it under control. Order forecast, the volumes are lower. Yes, last year it was lower than the budgeted quantities, both large and small, and definitely that we know it, we know the situation, and there are under recovery of costs. But in spite of that, I think a lot of recovery improvement were done in the last 2 quarters with respect to the volumes and also with respect to the cost control, which helped us to reduce our under recovery. Then coming to production backlog, during this month of April when we were shut down, there were some backlogs, but then we recovered in during May and June, and then we are back on track after that, and there are no backlogs. And then regarding the availability of resources in the form of operators, machines, toolings, etc., I think things are under control or are available. Organizational issues per se, there are no issues, but I would like to mention under this category the issue of the steel prices that is continuously increasing in the month of, I would say, from the month of November end, in the month of December, and now continuing as well in January. It is drastically increasing. You can say graphically it is parabolically increasing, and availability is also concerned. Certain categories of steel and certain sizes. So this is one issue we are addressing now along with our commodity managers. We are trying to control, do whatever best we could do to bring it under control. But nevertheless, this is a concern for 2021 starting. It started in December, in fact, and now continuing. Now yesterday also there was a question on this, and you all know it. And I don't think we have any answer as of now. At least we foresee similar situation until first quarter for sure, second quarter most likely. If anything better could happen, only after that. Apart from that, I would say COVID impact in the factory. Total in the Rital India, we had around 93 positive cases and 8 active cases until last weekend, I would say Sunday. There was one addition on Saturday from the shop floor. But we are proud to say that we have taken a lot of measures and put the situation under control right from the beginning. In between, we had a spurt, but we were able to bring it back under control with all the measures that have been put in place. So as of now, situation is under control, nothing out of the way. So all in all, I would like to say things are under control in the plant and in the operations area. Yes, material cost is out of control, but we are trying to bring it back. Other than that, I think rest of the things are all under control. This is the summary from this slide. Now going into the material part, you would see we had a positive impacts in the first half. 1 month is washed out, clear, you can see there. And then subsequently 1 or 2 months there were lesser benefits. Then after that, you can see in the last quarter the negative impact. That is mainly because of the steel and steel related components. But in spite of that, the net impact we were positive, about 2.8 million INR, very small, I would say. But still, yes, in terms of percentage, we were at around 1.2% of sale. Positive impact net in spite of the negative impact, almost 2% in the last 2 months. So this is what is the summary from this. The negative things are coming from the steel impact and steel related components. That's in summary. So there are other details I think I will go through at the end when required. I will go through the next slides now. Now the important thing from the operations perspective, the quantity development. You see the average output per day, the development in the last 8 years, how it has moved. Small enclosures, you can see clearly there is an increasing trend. In the last year, I think 2020, the dip mainly coming from COVID impact, also partially coming from export impact. The export to Germany, which stopped and which we could not further do it in 2020, that also is sitting here. And if you see the large enclosures, you can also see the dip. Yesterday, Ajay was mentioning, you can see here what we have the volumes for budget 2020. 2020, what you have achieved is 162 against a budget of 250 per day for large. And if you see the next year, we are at 179, which includes all the volumes. If you remove the non-core, it comes to even less than 170, what I mentioned yesterday. So all in all, it's similar level at 2012. So if you see the CAGR effect, practically nothing. In fact, it is negative. 2020 if you take it. So large, of course, there is an increase. It is clear. It is visible from this. So if you see in totality of large, we are minus 41% compared to budget and minus 31% compared to actuals of 2019. Small, we are minus 56% compared to budget and minus 50% compared to actual. That is the summary. That's how the volumes look like. This is the last 12 months. You can see the impact started already in the last quarter in the small enclosures, mainly because of the small enclosure export to Germany stopped. Large enclosure, in fact, it was better, improving, but because of the COVID, it saw the dip and recovery. You can see in small enclosure is happening, but still not at the level of 2019, somewhere in middle. So that has to happen this year. I think it will happen until middle of this year. But large, you can see the recovery is slow. This trend is basically this is a trend graph to understand how we are moving. Otherwise, you can see in all the subfamilies of small and large, there is a negative impact. And what I mentioned in the small exports, there is a big negative because nothing happened after that November last 2019. Now, how does the forecast look like? So you all know this. I think at least some of you know this, and for the benefit of everybody, you can see it is improving. This month we are going to make 4,400 large. Next month plan is 4,900 and March also in that range. In the small enclosure, this month we are going to make around 18,200, and next 2 months we are going to make in the range of 21,000. That's how the sea of meeting details we have, and that's what we have planned and geared up all the resources to meet this. But still, these volumes are lesser than what we could recover. The cost still is not a break-even quantities. So break-even quantities are much higher, maybe in the range for a large, combined large and small, large around 5,800, small around 24,000 will be the break-even quantities more or less from the production perspective. These are the KPIs as a snapshot. You can see we have 3 green, 2 yellow and 1 red. Customer complaint plant is yellow, better than previous year, but still falling short of target. Monthly fulfillment, we are on target. Lead time, we are better than the target. And delivery reliability also better than the target. Productivity, we are out. We are not able to recover. And bad inventory, better than previous year, but still not meeting the target. That's in summary, but details we'll go through quickly in the next slides. So this is a customer complaint in totality. It is better. It's green. Even though there is a spurt in the last quarter, it's understandable because in the first, second and third quarters, the customers were not open and there were small sales happening. But later on, you can see that we are almost on the target level here. So on the whole, we're better than the target for the whole accumulated. That is how the overall customer complaints. In the Pareto wise, you can see the big improvements coming from cooling units from headquarters and cooling units supplied from local. The design modifications, packaging modifications, etc., which has helped. And other than that, from the production, which is subsequently there in this seventh or eighth in the Pareto element, where we can see in the next slide. So you can see here in the production related, it is better than the previous year, but in the last quarter, you can see it is less than the target or below the target. There were complaints, particularly in December, you can see there were a lot of complaints. So we are addressing that and we have formulated also the actions for that to address that, to bring it under control. And for sure, we will bring it under control. So you can see the big achievements or reductions are in assembly, which was a nightmare in 19 first half, mainly from the missing kits. So that improvements has yielded the results here, and also small improvements in production, raw production, or the fabrication area, and some technical areas. So that is basically the design areas. So this complaints related to plant, and you can see the lead time. Here I will spend a little more time. Here you can see lead time. We are at 16 days against 18 days. Almost 80% of the orders, 20% roughly are orders where customer wants beyond 18 days. So around 80% we are fulfilling in almost, you can say, 14 and a half days against 16 days. Within that, if you see almost 43%, or you can say in total around 43%, we are meeting around 9 days. We are fulfilling in 9 days, and balance around 20% we are fulfilling in 16 days, which are the refor power orders. And there are other balance 17% where we are fulfilling in 24 days. They are within the target dates we are committing. at 98, 99% of delivery reliability. But nevertheless, it's a higher, mainly because of very super specials. Even though we call internally V4, V5, I always tell they are V6, V7, some of them. So that's how we are. And nevertheless, the issues here are where we have a concern is the bought out materials, which take higher time. And then there are certain production delays, almost equally divided between some warehouse material non-availability, production delays, and other design-related topics. So the bigger chunk is basically the bought-out items where we have challenges, particularly I would say IT-related topics where we have some bought-out items which take higher time. So that's how this looks like. I have the details. Maybe I will not go through. If required at the end, I will just give a glimpse of it, how it looks month on month and how it develops. Delivery reliability is another topic you can see. So we are at around 98.9% compared to around 99.1% previous year. That is because of 2 months impact there. You can see in the left side graph, in May, backlogs were there. In April, nothing was produced. But the system, the way it is configured is when you produce and fulfill it, when if it's overdue or delayed, then that affects. So that affected in the month of May, to some extent in June, and after that we were able to recover that and maintain. A small gaps are there mainly from bought out material. You can say almost around 0.4%, 0.7%, and then small gaps are the delays in production and design issues. So those are the small gaps what we have, and we continue to address this and bring it under control and also improve it further. Productivity, you can see here, the it's never we have met the target. Yes, we have improved in the last quarter, but still falling short of the target. And overall, we fell short mainly because we could not fulfill with the volumes what we have efficiently. So I think even in the last month, we were falling short from the target. But nevertheless, there has been an improvement compared to the situation we were in the second and third quarter. And there are a lot of actions that we have put in place to improve this, control the and improve productivity improvement, settlement, what we have now for this year. All those are in place. So I will not go through the details. I will only touch base. I think it comes next somewhere from the batch quantity and variant analysis. Here it is not there. I think it is in the previous slide. It is there. Maybe I will go back and then we'll go through the batch and variant. I'll spend here about 2-3 minutes. So you can see here the variant, how it is moving for the small enclosures. It is basically on the quantity based on the total quantities what we have produced. You can see here V0, that is basically the catalog standards, and V1, V2 are modifications, assembly, and then some cutouts and all that. So all put together, you can see up to around 79% is the total volume. Out of the total production volume of 1,69,000 what we achieved by TD, it is 79% are catalog standards with some modifications. Compared to last year, we were at 91%. So that means there is a drop in standards. There is an increase in the V4, V5 family here compared to the previous year. You can see as well as in the numbers from 18,700, it has increased to 25,000. That means some specials have increased in the small enclosures. And in the large enclosures, small improvement is there, 40%. In the same analysis, V0 to V3, we have increased it to 43. So it is small improvement, better. It is improved. Mainly here you can see V4, V5 has dropped, and also certain, no, V4, V5 has increased, but customer series, certain specials like Reliance and Ericsson's and other specific customer standards have reduced. So that's how the snapshot looks like from the variant analysis. If you go to the next slide, you see the batch quantity. Or I will not go through that variant details. You will just see the batch quantity. Here it is based on the order lines. You can see here how it is. So in 2020, we have processed around 3,540 order lines. Out of that, one quantity in small enclosures are around 239, which amounts to around 7%. Up to 5, if you take, it is around 950 order lines. And if you take up to, say, 10 batch quantity, you can say around 50% or 20 or below. You can see that blue, little darker blue, or I would say in between blue, which you can see the flower brackets. So almost 50% of the order lines are amounting to 10 or less than 20 or less than 20 quantity. And in the large enclosures equivalent, you can see it is amounting to around 69%. Basically here it is 10, not 20. You can say 10 or less than 10 is amounting to 69% of the order lines. Okay, or you can say 5, not 10, sorry, it is 5. The dark blue, you can see it is 5. 5 or less than 5, it is around 69%. So this is how it looks from the order line perspective. What happens? The impact of this is quite huge in front of processing. So every order is processed, every order is printed out for processing, taken up, setup changes, etc., etc. That's how it looks like. Even though quantity-wise it may look small, but the order line, if the processing impact is quite high and it kills away our productivity. So go to the next slide, you can see, or I think we'll go back. In this case, we'll go back. So major things are these, how it looks like. Because of the time, I think I'll rush through. Next, we'll go through the productivity. I already gone through the bad stock, which is improvement is there. We reduced certain things, Reliance and other things, but Ericsson, we plan to get the compensation this year. Suzlon, we continue to have it because there are orders which we try to fulfill in this year up to second half. And SS and RTT Compact, they are sitting here. They are per se not bad stock, but we have the stock which is more than the practical consumption. So that is also a bad stock. We are having more stock than required. So that's why it is sitting in bad stock. And hopefully we resolve this and bring down the bad stock further. So summary, I would say last year what we did is a standard slide. We say EHS, there were the fire protection system activities which were taken up. Investment was approved, and then we have also placed an order. And there were some special fire related activities from fire hose reel and the wet riser system, which is also approved towards the end, November end. We already placed an order and we plan to fulfill these in first quarter, and certain things will go up to June of 20th calendar week, I would say April, May of this year. We plan to fulfill these. Capacity wise, we had asked for a gasketing machine, but we have put on hold because of the volumes. Small enclosures, partially we got clearances for certain KX and other things, and partially it is put on hold investments. And then that is we have already implemented, or I would say orders have been processed for KX related. Certain things are yet to come in this first January, February month. We'll try to fulfill that as well. From the organization, people and process perspective, competency, training, mapping and training and development, that is a continuous activity. We have done this and further continue to do that. Lean activity is a journey. We continue to do that, continuously improve on that, various process improvements. Further process improvements are planned in this year. Process enhancements, which we had planned in SAP, we have put on hold, particularly from the hardware perspective, and some software configurations we had put on hold. And X4R projects is one area where I think we have done a good job overall as a team, Rital India, both in materials and in the conversion area, that is in production area, in the SG&A area. Various activities have been done. I think we will not go through the details, but it is very clear that we were able to achieve a lot of savings from that, which helped us to recover in the last 2 quarters. From the sales business support perspective, where I would like to mention that supply of APAC requirements, we started in 2019 towards the end, last quarter, we continued. Yes, there was a dip in between, but we further continued and strengthened that. And SS large enclosure investments, 100,000 euro, 85 lakhs we invested. We had a planned volume of around 1,000 odd, revised to 700, but still I think we ended up at a lower note. I think that is where we need to recover. So this was one area where we need the volumes. We have the investment. Export to KX, export to Germany for KX. We got the product all released, but there was a hold mainly because of the dip in the volume, and also the demand was sufficient that whatever they were fulfilling from Germany. This year, there is a plan to export around 19 to 20,000 that we plan to do. All things are in place. And I think pilot lot we have already supplied. I think Germany will give a clearance after also evaluating the pilot lot. And the RTT compact is another area which we localized for 500, 1600 and 2000 watt in first quarter itself. I think there is again a COVID impact and recovery happening. Hopefully we see further recovery or improvement in the volumes in this year. So I think these three areas we got the product release, product clearances released, certified, etc. I think now we look for the volumes to recover our costs. Material cost reduction we achieved, as I told you earlier, and we a lot of activities were done, and further we continue to do that. There were a lot of value engineering activities done, and lot of material savings from the local vendors, change in the vendors, still benefit to some extent, but afterwards that got eaten away by the increase. But nevertheless, we were able to achieve the material cost. This continues. There is some benefits which we are going to realize this year. So you can see the risks and opportunities which we have highlighted last year. EHS that is cleared. We are going ahead, and then related to capacity, small enclosures for second plant is on hold, and also mezzanine floor is on hold, and we dropped that project. Stainless steel capacity partially done, partially on hold. Then old gasket machine replacements or new EDF or new gasket machine also on hold because of the volumes. And the TS roll forming line to India, which we also been putting in this slide for the future. The decision from headquarters will be required at least earliest until next year first quarter, so that when the machines are getting released next year end or beginning 23, so we should be able to gear up for the Indian requirements. So that I think LPP project is taken up this year, and the decision analysis, the business case is being worked out. LPP approvals are done, other LPP approvals are also done. Warehouse expansion is put on hold. So all in all, I think the whole thing we reviewed, and then we adjusted according to the volumes, and that's what we see in the next slide here. So this year in 2021, the strategic initiatives, it continues the fire protection system, improving that the whole plant to make it fully compliant with the FM global recommendation. We continue further sprinkler systems that is planned for this year. Budget is already approved, so we are in the process of discussion, negotiation. This time we will be placing this order. Hopefully, we realize both last year's and this year within by the end of this year. And for capacity, small enclosure, we are not doing any investments per se. If there is a continued increase in the volumes, then we need to take a special approval. That's what we have agreed upon with the headquarters. As of now, no investments are planned. Only modifications in the line, small tooling and other things, whatever we have already done and whatever we plan to do, that we will be able to realize. And in the second quarter, already we started this activity. I think in a small way, and then further we will improve that and we will increase that so that we have that flexibility to do AE, smaller format AE up to 1050. To understand in sales guys for the article wise, if you have to say up to 1050 article, we should be able to make in KLEB line. That's what we target to do. Beyond that, it's not possible from box bending and jet bending and also the corner welding. Corner welding still possible, but other previous operations not possible. So that's how we evaluated, but we still plan to do this. So that's one major activity which will help us to improve the AE quantity fulfillment, because KLEB is decreasing. Whenever there is a KX, we still have one capacity planned, one shift, and that's how we plan to go forward. From the people, organization, and other processes, wage settlement is ending this year. Next year, normally we start the subsequent year. But this time we plan to do it start from middle of this year, somewhere May, June, and try to end it until end of this year. Worst case, maybe January spillover. Then competency mapping and training and development, we continue to do that. Lean journey, we continue. SAP process improvements in SAP. There are a lot of activities planned, particularly in work preparation area to fulfill in align the building block requirements and documentation, other things in design. So we plan to do that. And then quality improvements also are planned. Details are there. I think I will not be able to go through, but in packaging, transit damages, in assembly areas, in spot welding, in raw fabrication. These are the areas which you have planned for quality improvements. And if you see the X4R and CIP activities, we continue to do. CIP is a area where we continue to do from many years now. And X4R, basically, we take up for all big projects and big savings. CIPs are all small improvements, what we plan to do. That's how we differentiate. And we continue to do that. And from business perspective, small enclosure exports to USA, we plan to fulfill all these families which are mentioned here. WM we started, there are small hiccups and we try to resolve. JB, there is a small hiccup again, try to finish that in this month. PB, we are on the way, we should be resolving. Bentech is another special customer series, you can say, which we try to fulfill. There is no, as of now, there is only an indication, but I think until middle of the year, we should plan to achieve that. SS enclosure exports to APAC. Here, I think headquarters support as well as sales support. We are ready. We can deliver both AE. Already we are delivering AE to Australia, maybe further other areas. Also, SS large enclosures we could deliver. The product meets the requirement. So here, I think sales and headquarters support needed, which will help us to recover the fixed costs. KX enclosures, anyway, it is planned here. Headquarters support is required here to further increase. Basic quantity we have already planned. Support required to further increase. If required, we could provide. Then other than that, the most important, I would say, the material cost reduction, like localizations, a lot of negotiations, alternate sourcings, and value engineering. These are the various pockets where we target to focus, and this is how it is planned. So I will not go through the details in the next slides. Where are the various cost reduction projects? Productivity improvement is planned, replacement of energy improvement or the consumption of power reduction is planned, small enclosure complexity reduction, bad inventory reduction, and then value engineering, improvement in transit damages, I already mentioned. Sourcing is completely important. Everything is important. Apart from this, I would just take few seconds before I close. We have a concern here, space in the plant for material storage as well as vehicle parking from the EHS perspective. And the investments for vehicle parking we have put on hold. I think we have to take it up as and when the situation is conducive. And from other machinery perspective, EDF gasketing, Trump machines are very old. We have planned replacements in subsequent years, not this year, but considering the business situation. And small enclosure capacity long run, I think I'll just finish it. Second plant concept is also postponed. Then here important thing I would like to mention, TS roll forming line decision. So this will be critical. We need to plan decision until end of this year, worst case beginning 2022. So I would say with this, I would like to close my presentation. There are a lot of backups, but I will be not able to go through. But all in all, we are there as usual to support you. We'll do our best to see and fulfill your requirement as fast as possible at the best possible cost with the best quality. It goes without saying what I'm telling, but still I would like to mention, guys, get the orders. We'll try to do our best to fulfill your demand. Thank you.
Good morning to all German colleagues. Good afternoon to all my Indian colleagues. I hope you have already finished lunch during Chandra's presentation. If you have not finished lunch, then you can do it during my presentation. Coming to the today's topic is financial performance overview. It's a logical that finance overview comes after sales and operations because I always maintain that finance performance practically is a mirror image of what you do in sales and what you do in operations. So, in fact, yesterday there was an interesting question about that how to improve EBITDA and how to improve the PAT. And so if you see my presentation of, I will just run through the agenda, of course, the highlights, lowlights, financial parameters, business risk compliance, IT development also. So as I said that there is always a question that how to improve PAT, how to improve. So I always say that financial performance, a good financial performance is always dependent on a lot of factors. It starts with sales. It starts with sales margin. It talks about the volume also, that how much, so how you are able to utilize the production capacity. It depends on what cost measures you are doing. It depends on how you are efficient in your working capital management. It also depends on how much cash you have so that you can able to do a lot of investments which finally will be able to give you much more better results in the near future. So if you see that whatever highlights I have put here is, first, of course, the quarter four sales and profits improved against previous year. I think Mr. Bhargav also highlighted this topic. We know that COVID situation had definitely a negative impact on the first three quarters what we had, but it's a commendable job. Congratulations to all the sales team and all the operations team that at least in quarter four we have shown a lot of improvement in the sales and the profits. And of course, yes, when I talk of quarter four sales and profits, of course, we have to have in mind that at least in the quarter four, the steel price was stable. I think there was a lot of discussions happened with Chandra, Mr. Bhargav, that steel price actually is creating an havoc. So of course, we will have our fingers crossed when we reach quarter one to 2021. So that's of course in 2021. And in terms of SG&A also, as I said about the cost measures, what we had taken during the COVID time, there were a lot of X4R and other COVID measures what we had taken. So we could reduce around a sizable amount of SG&A in terms of various costs which we have. I will explain to you. I have a slide also to explain what are those major drivers. Then liquidity, of course, we had around 77 crores at the end of the year. And if you recall that we had shown every time that we are at a zero debt company for the last 6 years. So that's also a very commendable job in terms of all the sales engineers, that they have been able to do a very good collection. And at the end of the day, every time we have a liquidity, a very positive liquidity we have. And in fact, we had a yesterday's discussion. Of course, one question was coming up, in fact, that whether can we able to, invest in any company for a cooling unit. That was a question which had come. So always a discussion that you have 77 crores in your kitty and what you should do with that 77 crores, whether you want to invest in a unit or you want to capitalize and you go into capex where you can build more productivity or quality. So that's always a decision what we have or the top management will take, of course, not only with us. Of course, Germany also is there to support us in terms of every decision what we are taking here at a local level. Then the another highlight, of course, the dividend paid to headquarters is around 48 crores. That's a huge amount what we have paid. I think this is the third consecutive year we are paying dividend. And despite the COVID situation, we had always said that yes, we will be able to pay the dividend. Maybe we did not pay in the month of June, but definitely by September, when at least we could visualize that things at least we can pay, that our operations will not suffer, we could pay it in the month of September. Then the implementation of DIM for all direct and indirect invoices. I think there's a lot of message from Sankalp, who has already given a lot of message that we are into the digital invoice management. Earlier, it was only for the direct invoices. Now the indirect invoices also have come in the DIM, digital invoice management. That actually has eased the process of checks and balances. So that I think should be very good in the near future. Then we have the implementation of the e-invoicing system. I will also have talk when we are talking to IT, that this is also another development we have done in the e-invoicing. I think that also facilitates into our whole process, into also our GST returns, into our compilation, into our compliance, into our daily routine work. Then, of course, another important subject is the implementation of competency guidelines from Germany. I think this came in the month of April. By the month of May, and it came in during the peak COVID time. So by the time after month of May or June, we start analyzing. We had a huge number of meetings, first of all, to understand, because that was a huge. So we had to understand line by line. We took German help to understand what kind of guidance we should follow when we are talking of this competency guideline, because we had one authority matrix which was prevalent in local at India level. So what we could do at the end of the year, we could merge. So we had to replace the earlier authority matrix. Now there is a new authority matrix which actually also takes care of all the competency guidelines from Germany. There are stray issues which are still getting discussed with Germany for one or two cases, of course, at a sales level. Of course, we would see that we should get sorted out in the by the first quarter of 2021. In terms of the challenges, as I said, the under recovery of fixed overheads, this is a huge challenge. Of course, if you have sales, if you have margin, what we see in all the sales managers says that yes, I brought all the projects at a good margin, 28, 29, and why finance is showing only a 22, 23 or 21% GP. So that's a problem, because if you have a fixed overheads, ultimately all the salaries have to be paid, so wages have to be paid, your fixed costs are also there in terms of electricity, and everything is there. So you have to recover those fixed overheads. So whatever you build, give into the production plant. And if we churn out, so the turnover is important and the production capital utilization is more important, so we can utilize the under recovery into our production plant. Receivable collection delay due to COVID. We all know we had a struggling time in the first 2 months, around after March, April, May, June, in fact, also. But of course, at the end, we could come up and we could see that there is a collection process also, streamlined, and we could see a lot of collections coming from the customers. Tax assessments and negative implications is an ongoing process. Every year we have transfer pricing, we have GST, we have income tax. So all those assessments are there. There's always a challenge for the finance team. So we are always there with the consultants. We are there at the department. So we try to see that what risk we can mitigate. Business risks and compliance, of course, is always there. So what we are doing is that we are trying to streamline all the processes. We have the checks and balances. I will talk also. We have a slide for that. And the corporate audit points. I think we had two corporate audits, one in 2019 and one in 2020. So we have accumulated all the. We are trying to see that all the points we are taking care. There are certain points which also have to be taken care of by Germany, that we are following up with them, so that we close all the points, and we see that every process is streamlined. So as I said, that I briefly touch upon the SG&A cost walk. Basically, you see that there is a huge amount of savings what we could do in terms of from 2019 versus 2020. So these are the major costs. Of course, rental and leasing, there was an Expo Art project. EDB traveling was another, because of the COVID situation, nobody could travel. It was optimized. Marketing also, there were a lot of digital platform used by Sanjeev and team. So we could also save a lot of money from there. Freight cost was also there. And then, of course, which is freight cost of this variable. And then, of course, we had, since on the interest cost, all the working capital also, there was a minor savings there. But if you see from, I had a pie chart to explain to you that 2019, 2021, if you see from 2019, we had a 61% of your fixed cost, which actually moved to 2020 as 72. So our idea is that of course, that means that your variable cost, we could reduce our variable cost from 39 to 28%. But of course, and the other factor is, of course, that when you see 70, 80% of your fixed costs, then you know that these they have very less leverage. There are a lot of committed costs in terms of salaries and other things, which you can't do anything on that. And there, that means you have to bring more sales. So you see that at the end of the day, we could leverage all those fixed overheads. Then the liquidity, as I said, that in spite of the dividend payout in 2020, liquidity managed with driving profits. Of course, we had profits, and then working capital efficiency. There were a lot of good collections and cost optimization we could do in terms of what I showed in SG&A, other things. Of course, there are a lot of material savings also is getting done by at production cost level also. And then we have, of course, there was also a factor that we had a lower capex outflow during COVID situation, so we had to tighten our capex outflow. Only very rare where we feel there is an emergency, it had to be done. There was no other way out. So we had to request Germany to, process those and to give us those approvals. Otherwise, practically capex was nil this year. And then, as I highlighted, that zero dates for the last 6 years, I think, and the highlight, of course, is that over all the years, I think from 2014 onwards, practically, all the capex funding has come through internal fund generation. So this is a very good highlight, I could say, in terms of liquidity. And as I said, that cash is very important, because if you have cash, you can think a lot of. You can also, as Mr. Bhargav always says, that you can kill your competitors, because a lot of competitors during COVID situation are cash strapped. Banks are also not able to give them money, because they also fear that if I give cash, they may not be able to take it and turn it over to profits. That's where I think Rital comes in picture. We are always there in terms of the cash, whatever you require. So that's the help and of course, commendable efforts from terms of the collections. So if you see the DSO movement, what we have is basically, I know that's a prehistoric, that 2010 we had 182 days. From going forward, we had come down to 80 in 2018. 2019, of course, a bit on a higher side, because Varun was there, which had a bit of higher DSO. And 2020, but still we could improve in by one day in 2020. The reason mainly because of course, the good collections, what we could do. And of course, the DSO target we have kept to 85 days in this year. So we had a target lesser in 6 days. So that's a challenge we have. We should do it. So that's the key challenge is always there. You don't know sales, because COVID, post COVID, till the time all the vaccination is not done, you don't know what kind of COVID scare will still be there in the future. So what are the actions to achieve 2021 target? Timely actions of all default customers. It's all we know, to check payment terms in detail and resolve all documentation issues quickly. Small value customer managed through your respective channel partners. Secured payment instruments, LC, BG. Then credit hold and withdrawal of credit facilities being installed for default customers. I know it's very strict. We sometimes get a lot of late night calls to open those credit. Yeah, but we can't help, because at the end of the day, we also have to run our business, and we can't run. They should not run on our credit financing, And then contract payment terms should be reduced for all service business. That's also another issue which we have, because a lot of service business goes with small amounts, invoices, but at the end of the day, it's very difficult to collect once you have done your performance and you've done your actions at the customer level. So we have to see that we get the advance beforehand for all these service customers. So this is a collection performance in a very short. Yeah, if you see that we were close to the budget in the first 2 months, and then COVID started. And then you see March, April, May, June, initially it was 49, 48, 44%. Then we started ramping up 67, 74, 81, 83, 80. And then finally in December, we actually matched with the budget. So which is very good. And thanks to all people sitting around. And then, of course, is the regional DSO. So I don't need to explain. So everybody can see Karnataka was around 82 instead of 70. Tamil Nadu, Kerala did well below the 70 days. Gujarat slightly higher, 87. Maharashtra, Goa did an excellent good job, 54. So if you see key accounts, yesterday Prasanna also talked about the 114 days. So I think he's working on it. So we should see that. Yeah. And of course, government projects, of course, are there where always I know that there's a bit of problem, but I know those we have to, but Ravi Arya is working on those. So let's see that in future we have a good contract payment terms, and then we don't have fall into any other traps. So if you see that there's a very good performance in terms of that, when we started with the bad debt provision, it was around 10 crores, and then we reduced the provisions around 5 crores, and then we have a bad debts provision finally at 5 crores. Of course, we know all those customers. Practically, it's a day in and day out. We discuss with you all and with Suzlon. There's a lot of legal cases we are holding for the last 4 years. We have been discussing the small amounts, but at the end of the day, we always feel that Rital should fight them out, because it's not easy money. Because at the end of the day, we have spent all the money to, to do those deliveries. So let's get those money. The Acusonic, of course, Ashish talked about this yesterday about Acusonic. Bhel, Delhi International, and Goendi, one of the partners. I think he is a bit of cash situation. So I think Rahul is working on that to clear that payment. Then this was another interesting target what Germany had given to us at the beginning of this year, and this is the first kind of target that, of course, very rational. That how you will reduce. We had the aging bucket of 2019, and then they said the 2020 at the end of the year you should have a reduction of your up to 30 days, 30 to 60 days, and it was a very clear message that more than 60 days should be absolutely zero. So that's why you see 100% reduction on the right side. So we tried our best. Yes, there has been a lot of improvement. If you see more than 60 days and the legal, it comes to around 17 crores. So we could reduce it to around 8 or 9 crores. But I think there is a lot of improvement we still need to do to make it zero. And that's where the challenge is in the next year. We know all those customers. I have listed that. Unfortunately, I had to list that so that at least people who are looking at it, we know that it still pinches us that why we could not get those and why could not make the slate clean. But yes, there are a lot of positive developments which happened, and that's what we see. Yes, with of last 2 months, sales also has jacked up. That's why the not due statement is good high. But 2019, you see that most of the 98% of the collections have been done. So only the legal cases we knew, and we have to explain to Germany that we can't collect all those because till the time we have settled all those at the court. So let's see that what's the target we have. So this is the next target what we have in target 2021, or based on that 485 crore and the taxation. So this is the percentage what we plan to have, that 11 to 30 days, 4.7, 31 to 62.8. And this is where is a challenge we have into 0 to 11 to 30 days, 4.7, because if you see that we have to negotiate with the base and the key customers where the payment terms are based on GRN instead of invoice date. So we have to go into all those payment terms where it is based on GRN and not on invoice, because in SAP then we have to correct those and we have to understand from the business what is going on. So we should correct those in the system. Then issuing Dunning reports at more frequent intervals. So that we should do, that we will do. Hari has already started that process. He will start the process now. Renegotiate with customer payment terms where payments have only one, payment term cycles in a month, legal actions, scrutiny and control of project related payments. So all those things we will do, and to see that, we are on board and in terms of the collections. There's another work we are trying to do is an automation system to alert, because I don't know whether you know that whenever you are asking from management or from sales that can you give me an aging like this, like that, the problem is that it's all manual and it becomes very difficult for us to make a manual out of this whatever downloads we have, because we have a standard report. So there we are trying to see. I have told Hari also to work on an automated system, so that MIS system, so that we are, we have a very quick understanding what is going to fall into more than 45 days, more than 60 days. So we have an alert before it falls 60 days. We should collect those. And old and sticky payments that we collect by special task and assignments that already I think we are working on. This is also a bit small snapshot of the recent developments for the accounts payable we have. So as I said that, the invoice booking procedure has been more and more robust of introduction team for non-PO invoices. As you know, the competency guidelines. So what we are trying to do in our payables also, because this is always, where the major issues come up in terms of when we are making a payment to any supplier, because it starts right from the procurement to the cash cycle. You have an issue a PO, whether the PO has been properly, addressed. Then there is a checker in the system. But I know there are two checkers in the DIM. So what we have done, we have to do multiple, another checks before it goes into the bank accounts, So, and the other checks, what we have done in the vendor master data, especially the bank account, what we have done, another department also checks, apart from the accounts payable, like with accounts receivable we have put. where they will check whether that bank account details are correct or not. So all this we have put in the standard operating procedures, and hopefully we should be able to streamline all this. And with all the four eyes principle, I think we should be able to run the process more smoothly. I think it's a very short. I discussed with Ashwani. He is not well today, so I thought that he would best that he should also explain this. But I would just explain in brief in terms of the e-invoicing. This was a legal requirement. So whoever has a turnover more than 500 crores to have QR code and IRN number in the invoice as mandatory from 1/10/2020. So these are all the invoices. We all know the benefits like so e-invoice and e-way bill. So one single cockpit, it will reduce a lot of manual work, and mostly is the increase in the accuracy in the increase in the GST filing. And I understand now government is introducing more than 100 crores also. And in future also, if it applies to all suppliers, I would see a beautiful paperless office where we don't have to deal with a lot of physical invoices. TCS implementation also, government implementation, what we did, more than 50 lakhs, whoever has the receipt. So new condition records are implemented in SAP. So that also SAP team has also helped in. Like Microsoft team, like meeting and video calls, we know usage of Webex license has reduced. So we are going online chats, video clarity. Now all these things, I think Gauss is sitting here, so he knows what are the he has done. So then the Office 365 rollout, I think this is what is going on, integrating all application in single platform, emails, meeting, Excel, Word, using cloud solutions. So there's no VPN which will be used. But I think it's in progress to be completed by Q1 2021. And then, of course, these are all some big plans what we have in SAP and IFA infrastructure in like Tangro, what is getting discussed. I think Germany is also getting discussed on Tangro and the SAP performance management system. So these are all in there. So we have to discuss each and every project and what is the ROI, what benefits we are getting on each and every project. Of course, management will be involved, and then we will take a call that which projects we should implement, which we should not. So these are all projects I have highlighted there. And then, of course, so these are the major highlights of the next year. So this is in short, thank you. And thank you all for listening to my presentation.
So good morning and good afternoon again. I think you will be surprised to see me here for this session. I wished Dinesh was here, but he met with a personal tragedy. His mom passed away, and he's at his hometown. So I thought it would be an opportunity for me to talk about one of the favorite subject is HR, and it's important that we close our internal session with some overview of how we are managing this important aspect, especially in today's world when we're not meeting physically, we are doing a lot of work from home. So Dinesh has put this together. So there's a disclaimer here that this is not my slides, but I own it, and therefore any questions will be welcome at later stage. So let's run through, and I think we did talk about it a little bit yesterday in my initial presentation. We really had a tough time during COVID. We run a factory of 1,000 people here, and there are areas within factory when you can't avoid people coming to factory. They have to be in shop floor, and sometimes on one station there are two people working, and there was a time in May that we had almost 20 people detected positive, and we were a little scared that it may spread. But I think Dinesh and our operations team did very well to control it. And you can see that there are 93 cases that we have been reported so far. It's 10% of our strength actually. It's not good, but that's the way it happened. And but the good news is that everybody is doing well. You can see that 88 people have recovered, and some people are under treatment right now. I think we got a lot of support from headquarters as well in terms of giving us guidance in terms of the mask that we use, etc. So I'll just run through it because it was important that the business runs in spite of COVID. We could have sat back and said, we can't be in office, we can't be in factory, we can close the factory. These are easy decisions, but the difficult one is you got to run the factory with all the controls that are, at our disposal. And also we have to support our customers. So you can read a couple of them here. What are the actions we did? In fact, I remember in April that we said, could we put a disinfection infection tunnel? And it was first thing, very new things that we did in the factory, and therefore this is one example, the oximeters, temperature, etc. So a lot of work has been done by the team here. And today we still getting 2 cases a week. Actually, it's not over yet. I think there is a relaxation I see among employees and staff, but my only recommendation is that don't take it lightly till everybody gets a vaccine. We got to be very, very careful here, and work with Dinesh if there are anybody has any concern on personal level or official level, and the HR team is fully geared up to support you guys. I think we really believe that it's important that each of us, who is on the call today or who is not on the call today, is taking care of himself and his family. And I think that's what HR team does well here. And you can read. In fact, one of the decisions that we took at that point was that how do we make sure that that people are not COVID positive, and we did test for everybody. I mean, can you believe it? Some 700-800 people getting tested in 2 days, antigen test, and that was something which was a risk also, because if we had more people found positive, then it was a little bit of issue of PR issue and also factory inspector. And fortunately for us, I think the results were pretty good. That means our controls were working, and we only improved the controls later on. We did not change anything dramatically. And that is something pretty good right now. I think we have 2 to 3 cases right now, and I think we'll be able to control it moving forward. But it's everybody's job. You can't leave it to Dinesh or HR. I think it's our responsibility that we are careful about it. So this is the first point. The next chart that you see is how do we manage our headcount versus the business trend. And you can see the business has gone down because of the COVID, but we have been able to keep up a pace with the people. And you can see that the number of people that were working, for example, we had 473 temporary people in 2017, and today we are working 190 people. So we have a variability in the factory. Sometimes it becomes difficult when business goes down. But sometimes you try your best, but still business goes down, and that's what happened in 2020. That there's a COVID time, and how did we manage? A company is managing variable set of people. At one level you don't feel good about it that you had to take people out, but then that's the way life goes. We still try not to hurt people, but when the situation is so bad that we are reducing our sales by 35%, we have no option but to cut down on set of people, because the demand is less in the factory, and that's very important uh, to manage the situation. And you can see that 2021 we haven't budgeted staff increase, because we still believe that we are below 2017 numbers even right now, as our budgets, and therefore we got to manage with the people that we have. We need to reorient people, reorganize people, and make sure that we manage our cost equations pretty well. So let's go ahead. Uh, the good news is the attrition. One can say, one can debate. I mean, I always debate with Dinesh that 2020, I think people had less opportunities. but that's not fact. I think we lost some good people, but generally in our company the attrition rates are around 10 to 15%. I am seeing it for last 10 years now, and in the best times we had 8 to 9%. And this is something which you don't want, really, but there is something called a healthy attrition rate here, which is 6 to 8%. I mean, if you talk to any company, I think why it is important that we have some churn. I think you get new guys, you get new competence into the company, you get new cultures, and that makes it better. So a lot of people also leave on performance basis, and I'll give you that detail that this is how. If you see how people left actually, but you can see how 50% of the people actually left because of career aspiration, which is nothing wrong in that. I think it's a positive news. I mean, I have talked to many people who leave us, and if somebody is getting a better opportunity, I think he will leave you. So it's our responsibility as business managers that we make sure that there is a good plan for all the people, but more so with high talented people, and that you want some people more than anybody else, and therefore it is our responsibility. You can't leave it to HR, though I am standing for HR, but you can't leave it to them, to prepare a succession plan for you or prepare a career aspiration plan. So I think please take control, because for me the business managers are first HR managers, and HR is more support function, the way you look at it, and yes, they would do everything from policy perspective, come out with policies, etc. But I think to retain good talent is our responsibility, no question about it. I think, and it is very clearly said, when people leave their managers, very clear, they don't leave company actually, you know they leave managers, and therefore if somebody is leaving, I think you got to look at yourself and says that, am I doing everything right? Am I able to mentor the person that was working for me? Could I discuss his next year plan with him? Not every time that you have an opportunity to grow individuals, but it's a matter of making sure that we discuss these aspects very very clearly, and that's important. And you can see the performance issues, and therefore it's very important that we have a very strong measurement systems. We have manual measurement system today. I think we have a big initiative that is going on today for digitalization of performance management system within SAP. We hope that we'll get it approved this year and run this year. So by end of the year, we should run a digital platform on performance management. I think it's not very strong system today. This Dinesh would not have said this, but I'm telling you as CEO that we need to improve their in performance management system. I think that is the starting point of setting the goals, communicating clearly the area of improvement. I can tell you one thing, we are scared sometime in communicating the bad news to the individual, and that's the damage that you do to the company and to that individual. So one has to, I'm not saying that one has to be blunt and in so many words, but I think it's important that we understand the expectations, communicate the company objectives, goals, and course correct or guide the people that where are they going wrong and what we need to do. And that's, otherwise it becomes a problem. If you don't communicate, it becomes a problem after 2 years. It's a performance issue then. So performance issues that you see 21 people, I think the managers are responsible for that actually. That why did we have that situation? You know, but nevertheless, I think after some time, they go to PIP and they have to leave. So, and another important is the code of conduct. I think we had issues, and some of the finance colleagues, and otherwise, I think we had to ask some of the people. We don't want that, but I think we are very, very clear about it that we could give a chance to the person who is not performing very well, but we cannot, give chance to the person who is not following code of conduct. So we have started a lot of training out there, etc. But that's how it goes, from attrition perspective. And this is actually for you guys. I mean, this is for a lot of managers and senior managers who are listening to this. That you got to take care of your guys, and irrespective of the COVID or no COVID, I think India is an opportunity, is a state of opportunity. Everybody has an opportunity, and it's a matter. We want all of you. We want all the good people here, As I always said yesterday, we are, you know, in some businesses we are like Sachin Tendulkar. I think we are 1 to 10, and therefore we need people like that. I think we need tens of them, to grow market shares and that too profitably. So we want, this system to work very well, which is actually the build around performance management system. Yeah, so the training, you can read it. The sales have done well. I think the training has been a good situation for 2020. uh, Also the situation forced us that you have nothing else to do, so let's train ourselves, right? So I think there are good amount of training, 85-90% plans we achieved, but I think Pooja does pretty well here in trying to put things together. It's not easy, you have to get everything together, motivate people to get trained. I know the product training has been very strong for Ital India, especially when you look at MTS, for example, between Abhinav and Ajit and Arun and all the guys. I think they really take time and efforts. I think it's not easy. I can tell you they do it in addition to their jobs also at times. So there is a lot of trainers that we have, regional trainers also. So I think training is something which is in our blood, and I think we should continuously use that, for our people, for our partners, for our customers also. And now we have digital platforms, so it's that much easier now to train, our guys. So good job done by HR here. I would say there's a COVID time, so we couldn't do physical trainings, but surely I think we reached our targets or close to our targets. uh, you know so let's move. This is just an example that how we look at good talent and move them up. Dinesh has put this 6 7 guys, but there are more of them actually. I'm seeing for last couple of years, then we always take pride in saying that the performers get paid actually, in terms of position, in terms of money and everything. And I think this is something which you know about it. They're your colleagues. They not come out of anywhere, and they've just gone on the performance. So I think that's what Dinesh wanted to convey this to everybody here, and I agree with that point what he's making here. Uh, these are the actions on people development. I think critical ones are, of course, a code of conduct. As I said, we have many corporate audits here. We get a lot of inputs, but sometimes it does not get communicated down the line. So this is something which we have started mandatory now. The trainings are happening. You got to sign it up with respect to understanding what is allowed, what is not allowed. We are a global company, and these are things which are very very critical for a global company, that each employee at any level is aware of policies, and you're signing it off physically. Actually, you're signing it off, so that, and every year, not it is not one time exercise. So Dinesh would start, I think, a online CBD shortly, where you don't have to again go through some training, so you can run it yourself. The training, sign it up. There's some question answer. I have gone through this number of times in Honeywell. I haven't seen in Rital, but that's very important that each employee does himself, get it signed off, so that there's no interference for anybody. At your own convenient time and place, you can take the training, but it's very important. Posh awareness and competency assessment. This is a normal thing that we do. We are also working on a policy for work from home. I think this is important for all of us, that things have changed. Let me tell you, from a people perspective, there's a complete change of situation in last 8 to 9 months. We never thought that we'll have our people working from home. People were coming, punching the card and saying, okay, you come half a minute late, so I'll cut your salary, and 15 minutes late, and we'll do this, and everything is gone. Everything is trust based today, right? And I think that's important, and I'm very happy with this, actually, personally speaking, because I believe it has to be result oriented management, rather than a work oriented. Are you busy for 8 hours? Yeah, good to see that. But if you finish your job and really spend time in training yourself and doing something better, I think we're more than happy to do that. Our top management completely believes in this, and we are coming out with policy. I'm not sure whether Dinesh has taken it out, but very soon, if it's not, then I'll check with him and make sure that the policy is out within this month itself. And therefore we would allow a lot of colleagues, internal sales, marketing, except production. Of course, we can't have that at home, but but other colleagues can really, it's a manager's call that how you want to set up a system of reviews and output controls, etc. Whatever you want to do it, I think there are better methods today, digital methods to manage the workflow. And we know, all of us know how to use WebEx, and Teams will come. They've talked about it. We are rolling out Microsoft 365 framework now. We already identified key users right now. Within next 3 to 6 months, I think you will see that we'll all move to Microsoft, including move from Lotus Notes to Microsoft also. So I think something good will happen. I think as a work-life balance, I think it will be good. I would like to say that it's only for female employees, but it's for everybody. I think that that we would have a better way of working, and in my opinion, it's a high productivity stuff actually. And when we did a survey, I remember one of the feedback that we got from most of the employees that the productivity has improved. Although some people did say that I want to be in office, because we're all social animal and we want to be at office. But to be very frank, I think a lot of people said that they were better off at home, and we believe that uh, because even if you work for 8 hours or 7 hours, I think the output that you get is much much better. I think what we need is a good broadband, a good VPN connectivity, etc. We're working on that. We're very very close to coming out with a good policy out there. Uh, Another important thing that Dinesh is doing and his team is doing is X4R. Rental cost reduction is very important. On the phase one, we did save million rupee out there. In the phase two, I think we have another slide which is talking about 50% cost reduction in current offices. Now this proposal is with headquarter. We are reviewing it because there are chances that when we move to a co-work location, you may lose a little bit of brand out there. We will not have showroom, etc. So this is something which we haven't got acceptance yet from headquarter. So the proposal is very much active and live. I believe before end of quarter one, we should be able to take a decision. That's a huge saving, and the saving is in the range of 150,000 euros. I mean, or in Indian rupees should be 1 crore kind of savings out there, and that's very very critical for us. 2021 plan, I think critical ones, of course, you know, it goes back on learning approach, digital platform for training. I think these are something which we have been doing. So it's a continuity. It is nothing absolutely new, but that's important for us. I think the important element would be a competency development for our business leaders. We want to really, you must have heard yesterday, Dr. Umloft, and I also talked about a P&L mindset for many of the managers here, especially the regional managers. And that is something that we are working out right now. Uh, you know, it seems simple that, I'm managing a sales. So what is so great about it, right? I can manage the P&L, but I think there is a huge difference between managing a top line and managing the complete value chain in terms of the financials. Where you have the cost management in front of you, you have got gross profits, gross margins, SG&A. There is unrecovered cost, etc., etc. So when you look at really P&L, I think I know mathematically all of us know about it. We are all engineers, so it may not be a rocket science for a lot of us because we are good at it, but I think we need a formal training here. So it's not only looking at financial and understanding a balance sheet, it's a matter of managing the balance sheet. It's a matter of saying, what's my inventory, for example? What's my fast moving inventory? What's my slow moving inventory? Where does it go? How does it hit my P&L? And what time does it hit my P&L? What's my policy for obsolescence, for example? I think there are many factors that we can handle. And I would like to have this training imparted internally. We have some good leaders in this company, and I would tell Dinesh that I think we should have a session with a couple of you, of course, along with the external facility also, because we are the practicing managers, right? Couple of us. So we do it for our bread and butter. We get salary because of doing this business for not today, but for many years. So you would find that trainers are sitting in the company itself. But the question is, how do we create a formal, collateral, curriculum, etc., which we'll ask Dinesh to do it. And that would be very, very important that many of us really, even if you're not managing P&L, it's important to know about it, to look at your function. It could be sourcing managers, it could be other guys. So I think I will put very, very high priority on getting to next level of training. Though many of you senior level or mid level have gone through IGCC, the management program, but I think it's a little bit of history now, and we will use our practicing managers within Rital world to give you a flavor of between two, three of us, myself, Dave, Matthew, I think, and Chandra, we can figure it out and give it to you a good module, a good capsule, you can say, on P&L. We'll do that going forward. You can see that now it is coming up. The 50% cost reduction is a plan which has been given to Dinesh. Now it's Dinesh KPI uh, without impacting, the facility. Actually, we are saying it is better because these are good places. We have done that in Chennai. I think we have good positive feedback. We're looking at Mumbai. We're looking at Bangalore. We're looking at Delhi. The good offices, good parking, good canteen. It's modular. You can add people. You can add seats. You can pay. So it's like a variable cost. Some fixed, but a lot of them variable. But you don't get a branding what you typically get in independent offices. So there's a pro and con. I think we are kind of working it out. Hopefully by quarter one we'll be able to finish off this proposal, a decision paper we call it in Rital world. So we'll go through that. Broadband facility for staff. I talked about it. Uh, so that gets compensated by staff transport and canteen spend. So I think it's we would make sure that we provide good infrastructure even if you're at home in terms of communication, because there's nothing more frustrating than the meetings getting disrupted in between, or you're saying you're not able to connect to WebEx, for example, or today's world. I mean, that's no go in my opinion. And Gaush is sitting here right now, and I'm sure he's listening. That we got to make sure that our infrastructure is world class. We are a global company, we are world class company, and we just cannot have a situation that our meetings are disrupted. Yeah, sometimes it can happen. I mean, technology can behave vaguely at times, but I think more or less we should be able to control the situation with today's support services available from third party vendors and from Germany. So I think that's something would be very, very high focus area for us from HR and IT put together. So that's it. I am 5 minutes before allotted time because Dinesh put it together. So thank you very much, guys.